What if I told you the absolute biggest threat to your PR strategy right now isn't your biggest competitor? It's not some sudden PR crisis either. It's actually artificial intelligence. And it's quietly, almost invisibly, rewriting the entire rulebook of influence. Welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled to have you here, because today, we are breaking down the new gatekeepers of information. And honestly, here's the scary part. Most PR teams, maybe even yours, don't even realize they're losing their grip. We are going to discover who really controls narratives now and exactly what you need to do before your traditional strategies become completely irrelevant. So, who really controls the narrative in 2026? If you work in brand strategy, public relations, or corporate comms, this isn't just some fun philosophical debate. It's literally a matter of survival. The way stories spread, the way they rank, and ultimately the way they influence people has fundamentally changed right beneath our feet. We're facing a reality where the original creators of a story are losing their power and a totally new system is taking over. By the end of this explainer, you're going to understand exactly who holds the keys today, why your old methods are silently failing, and most importantly, the exact strategy that smart teams are using right now to win in this new era. Okay, so before we dive into the future, let's take a quick look back at the old narrative gatekeepers. This old timeline probably feels incredibly comfortable to a lot of us who've worked in communications. For decades, the gatekeepers of any narrative were, well, human. Journalists, editors at the New York Times, producers at the BBC. If you wanted visibility, you needed them. It was beautifully linear, right? Day one, your PR team pitches a story. Week two, you secure the coverage. Month one, that published story is out there, successfully shaping public perception. You pop some champagne, and your job is essentially done. It was simple, linear, and highly controlled. Well, that comfortable era, it's officially over. We are now right in the middle of a massive shift to AI aggregators. We are living through a massive paradigm shift. Think about it for a second. In the old era, a journalist published a story and the audience read it directly, direct line. But today, people are completely bypassing traditional search. They're just asking platforms like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, or Perplexity. Now, journalists are absolutely still writing the stories, for sure. But AI is the thing interpreting, summarizing, and feeding those stories to the audience. So who actually holds the power here? Is it the writer who drafts the article, or the invisible system deciding how it gets served up to millions of people? And that brings us to the new Kingmaker, the aggregator. An AI aggregator is essentially a system that decides which sources to cite, summarizes the complex stuff, and ranks what you see first. It's basically the ultimate executive assistant for billions of users. And look, if that digital assistant decides your massive multi-page feature in Forbes isn't a priority, your story instantly loses its reach. PR success is no longer just about securing the coverage, it is entirely dependent on your AI visibility. Which brings us to a somewhat painful reality. Exactly why traditional PR is failing in this new ecosystem. Let's be brutally honest here. A lot of PR teams are still out there blasting press releases and high-fiving over generic media mentions, but AI, it ignores almost all of that. Press releases are rarely, if ever, seen by AI as objective sources of truth. Low-level blog mentions, the algorithm just filters them out as mere noise. Generic, compressed coverage, totally ignored. AI honestly doesn't care how big your email distribution list is. It cares about authority, consistency, and context. If your brand isn't showing up organically across highly trusted sources, you basically do not exist in AI-generated answers. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, smart teams are pivoting fast, and that's where the new AI PR Playbook comes in. They've stopped asking, how do we get coverage, and started asking, how do we become the source that AI trusts? Top strategists are actually using a really specific 4-step playbook to totally dominate AI visibility right now. They're building narrative clusters, targeting high-authority mentions, owning branded search, and creating AI-friendly content. Let's break down exactly how you can use this framework to stop begging for media coverage and start taking total command of these platforms. So instead of betting the whole house on one big article, smart teams build narrative clusters. What does that actually look like? Well, it means dropping a data-rich white paper, grabbing expert quotes in industry magazines, and maybe doing a focused podcast tour, all anchored around the exact same core message. Why? Because when the AI scrapes the web, it needs to see a consistent drumbeat everywhere it looks. Combine that with owning your branded search, optimizing founder visibility and keeping your messaging perfectly aligned, and you've effectively surrounded the AI with your preferred narrative. Remember the old days of chasing backlinks? An agency might have celebrated getting you 20 mentions on some random low-authority blogs. Not anymore. To an AI, One single mention on a highly trusted, recognized publication is worth exponentially more than 20 obscure blogs combined. These algorithms are literally trained to filter out spam and prioritize authority. Quality doesn't just beat quantity now, it completely replaces it. One high-authority mention will absolutely crush mass distribution when you're trying to teach an aggregator to trust you. Finally, and this is absolutely crucial, you've got to create AI-friendly content. You have to structure your data so a machine can easily pull out the facts. I'm talking bullet points, clear headings, direct answers, and data-backed insights. The golden rule here is so simple but so easy to get wrong. If your content is buried in flowery, ambiguous corporate jargon, the AI is going to skip right over you and find a competitor who just answers the question clearly. Write strong, definitive positioning statements so the AI can literally quote you directly. Make it incredibly easy for the machine to make you the expert. So, how do we tie this whole shebang together? Let's talk about mastering the new narrative. The dynamic we are facing right now is captured perfectly in this quote. Journalists create credibility, AI decides scalability. So who controls the narrative? Well, it's not AI alone, and it's definitely not journalists alone. You really need both. Journalists remain the bedrock of trust. They create the authority that the AI is hunting for. But AI is the distribution engine. As a modern PR professional or brand strategist, your new job is to sit right in the middle of these two massive forces. You leverage the journalist for the trust, and you format for the AI for the reach. Okay, let's wrap this up with some clear marching orders. First, you've got to stop measuring your success by media hits alone and start tracking whether you actually show up in ChatGPT's answers. Second, focus relentlessly on authority over sheer volume. Third, align your messaging across every single platform to build those clusters we talked about. And finally, structure your content so you become the definitive voice that AI simply cannot ignore. The future of PR isn't just about getting published anymore. It's about being remembered, being referenced, and being repeated by the machine. I'm going to leave you with one final provocative question here. Will AI actually use your next feature? The next time you land a massive piece of coverage, before you pop the champagne, take a step back and ask yourself if you're actually structured for the aggregator. Because honestly, that is the entire game now. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. If you want to dive deeper, definitely review the material we covered, start applying this playbook, and rethink your very next campaign. Until next time, stay sharp, stay visible, and definitely stay in control of your narrative.